There's a quiet strength that exists within every human being, a hidden power that doesn't roar but whispers through discipline, clarity, and control. Earl Nightingale often said that we become what we think about most of the time, and yet few ever take command of their thinking the way a warrior takes command of his weapon. The warrior mind is not about aggression. It's about awareness, the ability to remain centered while the world trembles with noise and distraction. In ancient times, warriors trained their bodies to endure, but their greatest weapon was always their mind. Today, in a world of endless information and constant anxiety, that same discipline has become more vital than ever. To understand the warrior mind, imagine your thoughts as soldiers on a battlefield. Some are disciplined, aligned, and focused on a single mission, your growth. Others wander, distracted, untrained, even rebellious. The question is, who leads them? Most people let their thoughts lead them. But the true mental warrior, as Nightingale taught, leads his thoughts. He directs them with purpose, with calm authority. This mastery begins in silence. When you wake in the morning, your mind immediately starts to march. Thoughts about the day, doubts, responsibilities, desires. But a warrior pauses first. He observes. He sets his intention. He claims command over his mental army. Earl Nightingale described this as the art of conscious living. To live consciously means to choose what enters your mind, to filter what takes root, and to reject what weakens your spirit. The average person allows fear and negativity to plant seeds in the garden of thought. The warrior mind uproots them before they grow. A warrior doesn't allow fear to dictate his path, not because he feels no fear, but because he has trained himself to act in spite of it. Courage, Nightingale believed, isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward regardless. Every battle, internal or external, begins in the same place, the mind. Before any great achievement, before any personal transformation, there is always a shift in thought. You can trace every success story back to a moment when someone decided to think differently. The mind of a warrior is trained to anticipate this. It understands that every challenge is simply an invitation to rise. Think of your thoughts as ripples in water. When you allow anger, jealousy, or doubt to stir, the surface of your mind becomes turbulent, distorted. But when you quiet your inner world, when you choose focus and clarity, those waters reflect truth again. That is when the warrior sees clearly. The great samurai Miyamoto Musashi once said the ultimate aim of martial arts is not having to use them. Likewise, the goal of mental mastery is not to control every thought, but to become so deeply aware that negativity loses its grip before it takes hold. Earl Nightingale often compared the human mind to a fertile field, one that will grow whatever you plant in it, good or bad. The warrior plants deliberately. Gratitude, discipline, focus, purpose, because he knows that what grows in his mind will shape what unfolds in his life. But this kind of control doesn't come naturally. It requires training, just like the warrior's sword arm or his endurance. Mental discipline begins with observation. Every time you feel anger rising, observe it without judgment. Every time fear whispers, "You can't," respond with awareness, not emotion. You see, the warrior mind is built through repetition, through daily rituals that strengthen awareness. It's not built in a single moment of inspiration, but through countless small decisions made in silence when no one is watching. Nightingale once said, "Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal." That phrase doesn't just define success, it defines mastery. A worthy ideal is your North Star. The progressive realization is the journey. Every morning, the warrior recommits to that journey, not because it's easy, but because it's meaningful. He knows that his environment, his results, even his relationships are all reflections of his inner state, so he guards his mind like sacred ground. He's cautious about what he watches, listens to, and says, because he understands that everything he consumes becomes a part of his inner army. He doesn't feed his mind with chaos. He feeds it with clarity. And that's the difference between existing and living with purpose. The warrior doesn't drift through life. He navigates it. He understands that the greatest victory is not over others, but over his own inner resistance. When your mind learns to obey your intention, you step into an entirely new level of strength. Distraction fades, fear becomes fuel, and the chaos of life becomes a training ground for mastery. In that quiet strength, that calm, commanding focus, lies the essence of the warrior mind. The true test of a warrior is not found in moments of peace, but in the storms he learns to master. Anyone can be calm when life is easy, but the real measure of strength is what happens when everything begins to fall apart, when uncertainty rises, when plans crumble, when the path ahead disappears into fog. Earl Nightingale often reminded us that circumstances do not make the man, they reveal him. That single truth carries the essence of mental training. Life will always reflect what lives within you. To train your mind like a warrior is to prepare for those storms, not with fear, but with readiness. Because the warrior knows, chaos is not the enemy, it is the classroom. Every moment of frustration, doubt, or temptation is an invitation to practice mastery. When others react, the warrior pauses. When others complain, he observes. When others surrender, he sharpens his focus. This is the daily work of mental discipline. The discipline of thought. Your thoughts are habits, invisible patterns that repeat until you consciously interrupt them. Most people let their minds wander like wild horses, running wherever emotion pulls them. But a warrior trains his thoughts through consistent awareness. He doesn't fight every thought that enters his mind, he simply doesn't give energy to the ones that weaken him. He knows that what you focus on expands, and so he focuses on what strengthens him. This is what Earl Nightingale meant when he said, "You are now, and you do become what you think about." That's not philosophy, it's training. Each morning, before the noise of the world intrudes, the warrior begins his mental conditioning. He starts not with his phone, not with news, but with stillness. He reminds himself, I am in command of what I think. My thoughts shape my reality. Then, like sharpening a blade, he practices awareness throughout the day, cutting through distractions, doubts, and unnecessary noise. It's not easy. The mind will resist. It will wander toward comfort, toward fear, toward the familiar. But mastery lives beyond comfort. The warrior learns to sit with discomfort, not to fight it, but to understand it. When anger arises, he studies it. When doubt whispers, he listens, then lets it go. He learns from every emotion without letting it take command. That's what separates training from drifting. The power of repetition. Discipline is not built in one moment of inspiration, it's built in repetition. Every day the warrior repeats small acts of control that strengthen his mental muscle. He chooses his words carefully because he knows that language shapes thought. He chooses his reactions consciously because emotions are choices, not commands. He chooses focus over distraction because attention is the currency of mastery. Think about it. A soldier doesn't train only when battle comes. He trains daily, even when no war is in sight. The warrior of the mind does the same, preparing long before challenges arrive. Earl Nightingale used to say that success doesn't come to those who wish for it, but to those who prepare for it. And that preparation begins in the mind. A powerful exercise he recommended was this: spend 30 minutes each day focusing intensely on one idea, one goal, as though your entire future depends on it. At first, your mind will resist, it will wander, it will try to escape, but each time you bring it back, you are building strength. You are taming your mental energy. It's like weightlifting for the mind, invisible but transformative. Guarding the gates. Mental discipline also means protecting your inner world from unnecessary noise. We live in an age of constant stimulation, notifications, opinions, comparisons, endless scrolling. But a warrior doesn't let the outside world dictate his inner state. He guards what he consumes, because he understands that every image, every conversation, every word is programming the subconscious. Earl Nightingale said, "Our environment, our surroundings, are a mirror of our thinking." But what most people forget is that environment is also a mirror to your thinking. It feeds back into you. So the warrior becomes selective. He spends time with people who lift his energy, not drain it. He fills his mind with voices of wisdom, not noise of fear. He replaces comparison with gratitude. He is intentional about what he allows to enter the sacred space of his mind. And in doing so, he becomes calm, not because the world has changed, but because his mind has. The mirror of response. Here's a truth most people overlook. Life will always test you, not to break you, but to reveal the level of control you've developed. When someone offends you, do you react or respond? When plans fail, do you panic or adapt? When life slows you down, do you complain or reflect? Each reaction is a reflection of your inner training. The warrior mind responds with choice, not impulse. He doesn't hand his power to anyone or anything. He knows that peace is not found by controlling circumstances, but by mastering his response to them. Nightingale once compared the mind to a ship's captain. He said, "If a captain doesn't chart a course, the ship drifts." Every thought you think is a steering command. Every reaction is a turn of the wheel. The undisciplined mind drifts with every current. The trained mind sails deliberately, no matter the storm. The balance of stillness and action. One of the most misunderstood lessons in personal growth is the balance between stillness and action. The warrior understands both are vital. Stillness is reflection, the art of stepping back, listening to your thoughts, observing without judgment. Action is courage, the decision to move forward even while uncertain. Together, they form balance, awareness in motion. The warrior doesn't rush blindly into battle, nor does he remain frozen in fear. He studies, plans, and then acts decisively. That's what Nightingale called thinking with purpose. Every decision is filtered through clarity, not emotion. That's the core of discipline. To act with awareness, to feel deeply but not be controlled by feeling, to move forward calmly when the world around you trembles. And that's how true mastery begins to form, quietly, through daily awareness, through disciplined choices, through the patient building of mental strength. Final thought for Section 2. The path of mental training is not glamorous. It's not about motivation bursts or quick results. It's about consistency, the steady shaping of thought until focus becomes natural and peace becomes your baseline. Earl Nightingale's wisdom reminds us that we are sculptors of our own minds, and the masterpiece is built one disciplined thought at a time. So each day, choose awareness over reaction, choose purpose over distraction, choose command over chaos. That is how you train your mind like a warrior.
There is a war that every human being must fight, not against the world, not against others, but within the quiet corridors of the mind. It is the war between courage and fear, between faith and doubt, between the voice that says, "I can," and the one that whispers, "I can't." Earl Nightingale once said, "We become what we think about." And so, if we think about fear, we become fearful. If we think about courage, we become courageous. The warrior understands that fear is not the enemy. It's a signal. It points to the very place where growth is waiting. Most people run from fear. They distract themselves, hide behind excuses, or fill the silence with noise. But the warrior does something different. He pauses. He looks fear in the eye. And then he says softly, "Teach me." Because he knows every fear carries information. Every doubt hides a lesson. Every challenge that scares you the most is often the exact one designed to shape who you're meant to become. Empathy, the inner battlefield. Fear doesn't live in the outside world. It lives in our imagination. It's not reality. It's a story we tell ourselves about what might happen. Nightingale taught that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And the moment you set out toward a worthy ideal, fear appears, like a shadow of progress. Why? Because your old self senses it's about to be replaced. Growth always threatens comfort. Comfort resists change. And so your mind invents fear to keep you where you are. But the warrior understands that fear is simply energy misdirected. He doesn't try to eliminate it, he learns to channel it. He takes that nervous energy and turns it into movement, that anxiety and turns it into awareness, that uncertainty and turns it into focus. Every time he does this, he strengthens the bridge between emotion and mastery. And that is the real battle, not the external one, but the internal shift from reactivity to command. HOTT. Fear as a training partner. What if fear wasn't something to avoid, but something to use? What if every anxious thought, every trembling hesitation, every sleepless night before a challenge was actually your invitation to grow stronger? This is the mindset of a true warrior. He treats fear as his sparring partner. When fear says, "You can't handle this," he answers, "Watch me learn." When fear whispers, "What if you fail?" he responds, "Then I'll grow." Earl Nightingale often reminded his listeners that everything you desire lies on the other side of fear, not because fear disappears, but because you walk through it consciously. The warrior doesn't fight fear directly. He dances with it. He moves toward it slowly, intentionally, like a swordsman approaching a skilled opponent, studying its rhythm, learning its timing, and then transforming it into strength. Every day offers such practice. Speaking up when you'd rather stay quiet. Taking the first step toward a dream that feels too big. Saying yes to responsibility when doubt says no. Each act of courage reprograms the mind. It's your brain learning that discomfort is not danger, it's development. Over time, this becomes a habit. The habit of stepping forward when most people step back. The habit of acting with calmness under pressure. The habit of mastering fear before it masters you. That's the warrior's discipline. Empathy, understanding self-doubt. Self-doubt is perhaps the most cunning enemy of all, because it doesn't shout, it whispers. It hides behind logic, behind maybe later, behind I'm not ready. And the tragedy is that most people believe those whispers. But here's what Nightingale taught. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it, success or failure, confidence or fear, will grow. Self-doubt only grows because we feed it with repetition. Each time you repeat the thought, "I can't," it sinks deeper into your subconscious until it becomes belief. The warrior breaks this cycle through awareness. He observes the doubt, names it, and replaces it. When the mind says, "I'm not good enough," he answers, "I'm still learning." When it says, "This might fail," he responds, "Then I'll gain wisdom." When it says, "Others are better," he reminds himself, "I'm running my own race." By changing the inner language, he changes his outer reality. Because self-doubt is not truth. It's just a reflection of past conditioning. And conditioning can be rewritten. ENGIN, reprogramming the inner voice. The warrior rewires his thoughts through deliberate mental conditioning, repetition, visualization, and self-talk. Every morning before facing the noise of the world, he practices commanding his inner voice. He speaks phrases of power, not weakness. He affirms purpose, not fear. He programs his mind for courage. A simple but powerful ritual, one Earl Nightingale often suggested, is to repeat a goal or affirmation with feeling every day for 30 days. Something like, "Each day I grow stronger, calmer, and more focused. My mind is disciplined. My purpose is clear." When you repeat this with emotion and clarity, you're not just saying words, you're reshaping neural pathways. You're teaching your subconscious who's in charge. And that's what mastery really is. Not the absence of fear, but the consistent choice to lead your thoughts instead of being led by them. Shield. The warrior's shield, detachment from outcome. The warrior's strength also lies in detachment, not from effort, but from results. Most people attach their peace to outcomes. I'll be happy when this happens. I'll feel confident once I succeed. I'll relax once everything is perfect. But the warrior knows better. He doesn't wait for circumstances to grant him peace. He creates peace through discipline. He detaches from what he can't control and gives full attention to what he can, his effort, his mindset, his consistency. He shows up fully. He trains completely. He gives his best and then lets go. This detachment creates power because when you're not enslaved by results, you perform at your best. Your mind is calm, your focus sharp, your energy pure. Earl Nightingale called this calm confidence, the ability to move forward without tension, knowing that the process itself is the reward. The warrior finds satisfaction not in winning every battle, but in fighting them well. SNUGG, transforming fear into fuel. Here's the transformation point. Fear never disappears. It evolves. Once you stop running from it, it begins to serve you. It becomes alertness. It becomes focus. It becomes drive. When fear arises now, the warrior smiles, not because he enjoys pain, but because he recognizes the signal. Growth is near. He's learned that every new level of life brings new uncertainty, and he welcomes it. Because where there's fear, there's opportunity. This is how warriors think. They see fear not as a stop sign, but as a compass pointing to expansion. They understand that confidence is not built by removing fear, but by walking through it one step at a time. And every time they do, their inner voice changes from "what if I fail" to "what if I rise." That's the shift that transforms ordinary people into mental warriors. Feather, closing reflection, the quiet strength within. The world often celebrates loud victories, trophies, fame, success stories. But the greatest victories are silent. They happen in the mind, in those unseen moments when you choose courage over fear, faith over doubt, calm over chaos. No one may see it, no one may applaud it, but those are the moments that shape your destiny. The warrior walks with quiet confidence, not because he has no fear, but because he's made peace with it. He's learned that fear is not a wall, it's a mirror. It shows him where he still needs to grow, what still holds power over him. There comes a moment in every warrior's journey when the battles quiet down, not because the world has become easier, but because the mind has become stronger. That's the moment you stop reacting and start responding. When noise no longer shakes you. When challenges don't define you. When calm becomes your natural state, not because life is perfect, but because you are centered. Earl Nightingale once said, "The greatest discovery of our generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." The unshakable warrior understands this truth deeply. He knows that power doesn't come from force, it comes from inner stillness. Not from aggression, but from awareness. Not from dominance, but from discipline. Because real strength is calm. Calm is not weakness, it's command. In a world addicted to speed, calmness looks like slowness. In a culture that glorifies loudness, silence seems unimportant. But the warrior knows that calmness is not the absence of energy, it's energy refined. It's like a river, deep, steady, unstoppable. On the surface, it looks smooth, but beneath it, there's immense power flowing quietly in one direction. That's how the trained mind works. It doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It doesn't scatter. It flows. Every great warrior, every great leader, every great thinker from Marcus Aurelius to Nightingale learned this same truth. He who controls his mind controls his world. Because when you can stay calm while others lose control, you gain an edge that no one can take away from you. Calmness gives you clarity. Clarity gives you precision. And precision, that's where true power lives. Building inner stability. How do you build such calmness? It doesn't appear by accident. It's the product of deliberate inner training. The warrior begins each morning not with noise, but with stillness. He takes a moment to breathe deeply, 3 slow, powerful breaths, and asks, "What kind of mind will I bring into this day?" Because he knows, if the mind is calm, the day will follow. But if the mind is chaotic, no amount of planning will save it. He visualizes the day ahead, challenges, distractions, victories, and he prepares not just for what might happen, but for how he will think when it happens. That is mental discipline. And throughout the day, he checks in with himself. Am I centered? Am I reacting? Or am I responding? These small checkpoints become anchors, moments that bring him back to center, like a compass pointing north, no matter how stormy the weather becomes. This is how calmness is cultivated, not through control of the world, but through consistent control of your internal state. The power of stillness under pressure. Imagine 2 warriors facing the same storm. One panics, his thoughts race, his energy scatters, his focus collapses. The other stands still, not frozen, but grounded, balanced, steady. Both feel the same wind, The same fear, the same uncertainty. But one uses that energy as fuel. That's the difference between reaction and mastery. Life will always test you.
Deadlines will press. People will frustrate you. Dreams will challenge you. You cannot control the storm, but you can control the sail. Calmness is that sail. It allows you to navigate chaos without capsizing your mind. When you remain still inside, external pressure loses its power. Earl Nightingale used to say, "We can let circumstances rule us, or we can take charge and rule our lives from within." That's the essence of mental command. It's the art of maintaining focus while the world spins fast. It's the strength to pause before you speak, to breathe before you act, and to think before you react. The Warrior's Code. Focus on what you can control. Every warrior lives by a code, not written on stone, but engraved in the mind. And one of the first rules in that code is this: a warrior never wastes energy on what he cannot control. How much of your life's energy is spent worrying about things outside your reach, other people's opinions, outcomes, timing, or luck? That's mental leakage. It drains your strength before the battle even begins. The warrior reclaims that energy. He narrows his focus. He asks, "What's within my command right now? What action can I take today? What thought can I choose in this moment?" That's it. He focuses only on what he can shape: his effort, his mindset, his preparation. Everything else is noise. And the irony is, the moment you stop fighting for control of everything, life starts to align naturally. Because clarity replaces chaos, and peace replaces pressure. That's when true power flows, effortlessly. Resilience through reflection. Calmness doesn't mean you never feel pain, disappointment, or frustration. It means you recover faster, you adapt quicker, you rise stronger. The warrior practices reflection like others practice combat. Each evening before rest, he sits in silence, reviewing his day like a general studying the battlefield. He asks, "Where did I stay calm? Where did I lose focus? What can I learn before tomorrow's sunrise?" This reflection turns experience into wisdom. It transforms mistakes into maps for improvement. It prevents emotional buildup and keeps the mind clear. Because every day offers lessons, but only those who pause to reflect actually receive them. That's why Nightingale emphasized the power of awareness. The mind moves in the direction of our currently dominant thoughts. Reflection resets those thoughts, keeping you in command of your direction.
Training calmness as a skill. Calmness is not a personality trait, it's a skill. And like any skill, it grows with deliberate repetition. Start small. When frustration appears, pause before reacting. When fear rises, take 3 deep breaths before deciding. When impatience knocks, slow down instead of speeding up. Each pause strengthens the muscle of control. Each breath sharpens your awareness. Each choice to remain calm is a mental repetition, another set in your training for mastery. Soon, calmness becomes your natural state, not forced, not fake, just present. It becomes your silent armor in a noisy world. Stem zegramwer conception nedete. In the modern world, everyone's rushing, chasing notifications, deadlines, validation. But the warrior moves differently. He walks with intention. He speaks with precision. He listens deeply. He's not in a hurry
Because he knows peace doesn't live in speed. It lives in presence. He's not addicted to reaction because he knows silence carries more power than noise. He stands out not by shouting, but by being steady. He influences not through force, but through example. People feel it, the quiet authority of someone who has mastered himself. It's rare. It's magnetic. It's timeless. That's the energy of a calm warrior, and it's the energy the world needs most right now. Zentuksefisin, calm focus and flow. There's a secret every master eventually learns. When your mind is calm and your focus clear, life flows. Ideas come naturally. Decisions feel lighter. Challenges seem smaller. Because clarity removes friction, and focus turns effort into art. The warrior calls this flow state. It's that moment when your thoughts, actions, and purpose align perfectly, when time disappears and only creation remains. Nightingale believed this alignment was the natural state of a disciplined mind. When your thoughts serve your goals serve your purpose, and your purpose serves something greater, you stop forcing progress and start living it. That's the magic of calm focus. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things with the right energy at the right time. Cantalum sensa cremsa crini. Becoming unshakable. To master your mind like a warrior means to become unshakable, not because storms stop coming, but because you stop losing yourself in them. It means standing firm when others waver, speaking clearly when others shout, acting wisely when others react. It means owning your inner world so fully that no outer event can take it away from you. When life tests you, and it will, you'll no longer ask, "Why me?" You'll ask, "What is this teaching me?" When chaos arises, you won't get lost in it. You'll rise above it, because your mind will be trained, centered, and still. That is true mastery. And that's what Nightingale envisioned when he said, "Learn to enjoy every minute of your life. Be happy now. Don't wait for something outside yourself to make you happy." Because happiness, like strength, like peace, like confidence, is built from the inside out. Zentalum sin relsen in 6 shun. So, pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel your thoughts settle, like dust falling to the ground after a long storm. This is your true power. Not noise, not tension, not control, but calm awareness. From this state, everything flows. Creativity, clarity, compassion, strength. This is what it means to master your mind like a warrior. Not to fight endlessly, but to move with wisdom. Not to dominate others, but to command yourself. Not to chase peace, but to become peace. So, as you step into tomorrow, carry this with you. Your mind is your greatest battlefield, but also your greatest weapon. Train it, guard it, lead it. Because once you master your mind, you master your life. And that, as Earl Nightingale taught,